Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
It's over, and the Cubs have finally won it all. 8-7-10.
They did it. The curse is finally over. The Chicago Cubs end a 108-year championship drought with Game 7 win over the Cleveland Indians. Plus, fighting for your vote. Former President Bill Clinton still in Detroit, rallying those last-minute voters. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's family is out in full force as well.
Cooler conditions across Metro Detroit. What's in store heading toward the weekend?
Welcome to Local 4 News at noon today on this Thursday. I'm Sandra Ali.
And I'm meteorologist Brandon Rue.
It is getting cooler out there.
It's comfortably cooler,
yeah.
though. We had 78 a couple of days ago, 68 yesterday. The rain came and washed it all away. So we're heading into some cooler numbers. Here's a look at where we sit right now. We've got 57 degrees at Metro, 57 Ann Arbor. You remember the last couple of days we were unusually warm, and so this is a little bit more of where we should be for this time of year. Here's a look at the wind. It's important in that it shows the direction here. It's not a real strong wind, but 6 to 12 mile-an-hour winds. These little arrows indicate where the wind is coming from. So it's coming from the north and northwest. That drags some lake-enhanced cloud cover over the area, and that's what we're going to deal with. Some periods of sun, but the clouds will fill back in. This is a cold front up to the north, and it is slowly sinking south. May bring a couple of stray showers as we head into the evening hours, especially in our north zone. But we're going to hover right in the upper 50s, close to 60 degrees. And again, a chance for a stray shower later this evening. We'll take a closer look at that and a look into your weekend. But if you need a head start, head right now to clickondetroit.com, the weather tab, your 4-zone weather right there. Sandra?
Thank you, Brandon. The stepfather of Devontae Sanford, the Detroit man wrongly convicted of 4 murders, was gunned down early this morning. Sources telling Local 4 Jermaine Tillman was shot several times. It happened early this morning on the 3600 block of Chatsworth, just north of Mack Avenue on the city's east side. Devontae Sanford, you may remember, was just released in June after prosecutors determined he was not responsible for the 2007 Runyon Street killings. Police have not yet released a possible motive or possible suspects even in connection with Tillman's death. And in Garden City, investigators trying to figure out exactly what caused this fire right here. It happened at a hospital training facility. This is on the 6000 block of Harrison. This is right near Rosa Parks Boulevard. We're told the building was an old elementary school. It now serves as a training facility for Garden City Hospital. Workers there were forced to evacuate. Firefighters worked to try to contain the flames. So far, though, the good news is no reports of any injuries. Another story we are following for you at this hour. Police are investigating after a 21-year-old man shot and killed early this morning on Detroit's west side. Sources telling Local 4 that man had just bought a new cell phone charger from a gas station when it happened. Police say they have a lot of unanswered questions at this point. Lauren Podell joins us with more.
The big question, was this 21-year-old man targeted? Detroit police are telling us after he left this Valero gas station just before 2 a.m. right here at Joy Road is when the shooting took place. Multiple shots were fired and neighbors heard them loud and clear.
So I heard the first shot go off.
For Marcy, fear set in overnight when she heard those shots. She wanted to remain off camera but cannot believe what she saw outside of her window early Thursday morning.
The police and the young man lay there in the driveway.
Detroit police say a 21-year-old man who lived on Burt Street walked across to Joy Road to the Valero gas station to buy a cell phone cord for his girlfriend. On his way back, Captain Mark Thornton said shots were fired.
As he was walking back home, an individual appeared from the side of one of the residents, firing multiple shots, fatally injuring our victim.
No motive for the shooting, no description of the shooter, but evidence techs focused on that neighborhood for a reason.
The only thing that we know is that it's a black male. We don't have any real physical description in terms of his clothing or anything, but just an individual was observed hiding at the side of the house, maybe a door or so north of his location when he returned home, and that's where he was encountered.
Now, we did knock on the door of the home where this 21-year-old man reportedly lives. So far, we haven't been able to make contact with any family, but Detroit police are interested in getting any information on this suspected shooter because there's little to go by right now as far as a description. So if you have any information, you're asked to call Detroit police. Reporting from the city's west side, Lauren Podell, Local 4.
A man waiting for his bus is shot and killed in what police are calling an attempted robbery. That man was waiting at this bus stop right here. It's on 7 Mile in Wyoming on Detroit's west side. Police say a driver pulled up in a silver Chevy Cavalier. 4 people jumped out and apparently tried to rob him. That man was shot after he ran away from the group. No word yet on his condition. If you happen to be in that area at that hour and saw that silver sedan, or you have any information that might help police, call Detroit Police. This morning, Sterling Heights police announcing a pretty aggressive crackdown plan on marijuana grow operations. At a news conference earlier today, the city announced its system for identifying grow houses, which includes looking for homes with extra air conditioners and generators, which happen to be running 24/7. The city believes there are more than 100 grow houses right now in Sterling Heights, although that number is expected to drop with the police department's brand new focus. In Decision 2016, NBC's latest battleground map is showing a narrower path to victory for Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump. Here at home, families of both candidates are in town trying to rally those last-minute voters ahead of Tuesday's election. Today, Ivanka Trump will be in Rochester campaigning for her father. Mike Pence will be in Portage today. It's a suburb of Kalamazoo. And tomorrow, he is scheduled to be in Lansing. And also on Friday, Hillary Clinton will be in Detroit. But today, both candidates hit the same state. Tracy Potts joins us from Washington with the very latest.
Both candidates head to North Carolina today, where Clinton may have a problem. She's pulled ahead in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, fallen behind Donald Trump in Nevada, and they are still competitive in Florida.
Nice and cool. Right, stay on point, Donald, stay on point. No sidetracks, Donald. Nice and easy. Nice.
Donald Trump staying on message overnight in Florida, taking a page from Bernie Sanders' playbook, telling supporters he raised $100 million in small donations last month.
That sounds more like a Democrat thing, not a Republican thing, right?
Today, Trump and Hillary Clinton both campaign in North Carolina, where African-American turnout is down from 2012. Not good news for Clinton as she awaits results of the FBI's email investigation. She's also hoping to win Arizona, a red state.
We have a real chance to turn this state blue again.
Her latest message, imagining a Trump presidency.
Imagine having a president who demeans women, mocks the disabled, insults Latinos, African Americans, Muslims, POWs, who pits people against each other instead of pulling us together.
Putting a wife to work is a very dangerous thing.
Both candidates are out with final TV ads.
Clinton won't change Washington. She's been there 30 years.
Now, just 5 days from America's final choice. And in these final days, Hillary Clinton has seen the largest crowd ever during her candidacy. 15,000 people in Arizona last night, although Donald Trump's had several rallies of that size. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
After 108 years, the Cubs have finally won a World Series. They beat the Indians 8-7 last night in extra innings as All-Star Chris Bryant threw out Cleveland's Michael Martinez for the final out.
Here's the 0-1. This is going to be a tough play. Bryant, the Cubs win the World Series! Bryant makes the play!
If you were watching, you know it was a back-and-forth game pretty much all night. Former Tiger Rajai Davis tied the game at 6 with a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 8th. But the Cubs responded in the top of the 10th, scoring 2 runs to put the game out of reach. The win, of course, marks the first World Series for the Cubs since 1908. And with that victory, the Cubs officially ended the longest-running championship drought in pro sports. The longest drought now belongs to the NFL's Arizona Cardinals, who last won a championship back in 1947. After that comes the Cleveland Indians, who last won 68 years ago. That was in 1948. And coming in fourth for the longest drought, the Sacramento Kings, who are in the middle of a 65-year drought. And then finally, we have to mention it, our Detroit Lions, who last won a title. That was back in 1957. Still ahead here on Local 4 News, coming up at noon, a major blow to Britain's government. Find out what the high courts have ruled on the UK's exit from the union. Plus, a historical black church goes up in flames. Why investigators are calling it a hate crime, and the message they found written across the building. Plus, also neighbors outraged over what was supposed to be a luxury apartment building, but now it's leaning in the opposite direction. Find out why complaints are coming in from the ground up. New this afternoon, 2 U.S. soldiers are dead and 2 others hurt following a raid against the Taliban in northern Afghanistan. U.S. troops were working with Afghan forces in the city of Kunduz. Around 3 in the morning, those soldiers came under heavy fire, killing the U.S. soldiers and nearly 30 other civilians. Taliban militants had taken over the city last month, but they were driven out by U.S. and Afghan troops as well. Families in the city now fear there will be more attacks in the future. We are learning much more this afternoon about the man police believe shot and killed 2 Iowa officers. Police Sergeant Anthony Beminio and Officer Justin Martin were shot and killed in their patrol cars early Wednesday morning. The suspect in this case, here's his picture. He's 46-year-old Scott Michael Green. He was arrested hours later, and he is now awaiting charges. Green has had a history of run-ins with police and, in fact, was recently kicked out of a high school football game after he claimed fans stole a Confederate flag he brought to the game. In Mississippi, investigators trying to figure out who burned down a church and then vandalized it. Pro-Donald Trump graffiti was found painted on the outside of the building. In fact, Vote Trump was spray painted on Hopewell Baptist Church in Greenville. Firefighters also found the message as flames were fully engulfing the church. The city's mayor now says the case will indeed be investigated as a hate crime. Britain's plans to leave the European Union took a major blow today after a court ruled members of Parliament must be given a say in the decision. The results of the Brexit vote were first released back on June 23rd. You might remember this, with 52% of the UK voting to leave the European Union. The process to leave the Union was expected to begin next year, but now the future of Britain in the European Union is really unclear. The government expected to appeal the ruling, with Britain's Supreme Court likely to hear the appeal coming up in early December. A legal development expected later today regarding the Millennium Tower in San Francisco. The 58-story tower, built back in 2009, it was supposed to be the pinnacle of luxury, a high-rise with condos selling for millions of dollars. But now some families are suing because the building is sinking and it's located in the middle of an earthquake zone. The tower has sunk more than a foot, and it's actually starting to lean at this point. Developers maintain the building is safe. They say it is safe despite its sinking infrastructure. Coming up on Local 4 News here at noon, we are going to talk about the moment of impact, and it was all caught on camera, how the driver of this bus ended up crashing into a house and then walking away. Brandon?
Wild stuff. We've got a cold front. One came through bringing all of the rain overnight. Second one brings another rain chance, some cooler air, but don't worry. Wonderful weekend. We've got you next.
Believe it or not, I was not the first guy to sit next to Carmen on this set.
News 4 tonight with Mort Krim and Carmen Harlan.
Mort Krim and Carmen worked side by side for almost 2 decades. And now, as Carmen gets ready to retire, Mort looks back on their amazing partnership.
There's a certain thing called chemistry, and when it happens, it happens. And I think Carmen and I very early on discovered, and management discovered, that we had that certain something called chemistry.
Tonight at 11, Mort reminisces about co-anchoring with Carmen, his favorite moments, and why he and Carmen once stopped talking to each other. Join us tonight at 11.
Here's the...
Check out this video here out of San Antonio showing the moment a bus crashes right into a house. Take a look closely here. Cameras caught several different angles of the crash. A pickup ran a stop sign. The driver T-boned the bus, sending it right into the house. The 59-year-old bus driver can be seen actually calling in the crash and eventually leaving from the back door. Police arrested the driver in that pickup truck, an 18-year-old who actually didn't have any insurance, didn't even have a driver's license. Amazingly, no one was hurt. Brandon, a real cool down on this Thursday.
You remember a couple of days ago, we had a few neighborhoods in that 80-degree range. That is completely gone from the 7-day, but this is kind of right where we normally would be early November. So here we go with your 4-zone temperature. Starting in the south zone at Monroe, not bad, 58 degrees, actually a little above average or normal. This is also including Adrian, Milan area south of Michigan Avenue. 50 degrees in Port Huron in our north zone, north of M59. West zone is at 52, and that includes Howell, Canton, Ypsilanti, Ann Arbor. Detroit in our metro zone, 57 degrees. And by 2 o'clock, 59, maybe 60 degrees in a few spots. We're getting clouds mixed with sun. These northwest winds 5 to 15 dragging lake-enhanced cloud cover over the area. And a cold front coming later brings more or better chances for a couple of light showers in our north zone through the evening hours and maybe into Metro Detroit by 8 or 9 p.m. Here's a look at what we have. The clouds, well, they're going to thicken up a little bit. Right now we're getting some decent sunshine along 8 Mile and south, but as you head north you can see some thicker clouds there. And here's a look at that cool front. We had one come through already that brought the rain yesterday and overnight. This secondary one, it's not going to move real fast, but it does mean not only an isolated light shower tonight, but just a reinforcement of some cooler air for your Friday. Here we go with the model, and we'll stop it here at 4 o'clock. Looking pretty good here. And again, just dipping farther south, and look how that breaks apart. So our north zone really after 6 o'clock or so probably has, maybe a little before that, but it has the better chance of some of those showers closer to Lake Huron. As we head into Friday, Saturday, Sunday, going to get back into lots of sunshine, real pleasant stuff. But again, tomorrow struggling just a little bit as we head into your Saturday Michigan game, whatever your afternoon plans are. Good to go. Upper 50s to low 60s. Daylight saving time ends Sunday. We get an extra hour of sleep. We fall back. We replace the batteries in our smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. Always go hand in hand for some reason, just a reminder. And again, both weekend days near 60 and beautiful. Tuesday, Sandra, it's election day, and just tracking a very isolated shower chance.
All right, thank you so much, Brandon. There's much more to come here on Local 4 News at noon. Major changes in store for casinos all across the country. Find out what's being tested in hopes to draw more millennials onto the gaming floor. We'll be right back.
Alex makes.
Before we go today, you've got to see what casinos in Atlantic City are doing to try to lure in some more millennials.
Caesars, Bally's, Harrah's, the first casinos in the nation to host arcade-style games in their casinos. The game, called Danger Arena, was introduced yesterday and allows users to bet money on how many boots they can take out in 45 seconds.
The casino's owner says so far it's been a pretty huge success, and they're expecting more casinos to join the trend coming up later in the year.
Kind of sounds like something you do at a fair or at Cedar Point.
Oh, yeah. How are you going to win money? I don't know. They're going to have to figure out how you win money.
You win enough money, they bring you a big pink teddy bear.
Sure. Or the crane machine, right? Thanks so much for being with us today for Local 4 News at noon. We hope you'll join us again for Local 4 News at 4, 5, and 6.
And remember, Local 4 News and weather always available 24 hours a day. Click on Detroit.com, your 4-zone weather on the Weather tab.
Have a great Thursday.